Tonight, an update on Tommy Robinson from the United Kingdom. It's March 12th, and this is the Ezra Levant Show. Why should others go to jail when you're the biggest carbon consumer I know?
There's 8,500 customers here, and you won't give them an answer.
The only thing I have to say to the government about why I publish it is because it's my bloody right to do so.
I couldn't bring my camera into the courtroom, but after the 45-minute hearing, Tommy conferred with his lawyers, and then we went out front where there was a small scrum with independent journalists and, ironically, a reporter from Russia Today, one of Vladimir Putin's state-run media companies. Isn't it ironic that a Russian media company is more interested in free speech and independent courts than the British media? Here's a bit of how that scrum went.
So my issue this whole time has been Farouk Bajwa & Co, Mohammed Akanji, sent an Antifa extremist to my children's home to threaten to kill them. He made a video saying he's going to murder my children. I have child witnesses for this case, and I've refused to give their names or details to that law firm because they simply cannot be trusted. They gave my children's address to extremists, sent them to our house. Now, if this doesn't stink, Farouk Bajwa & Co will no longer have conduct of this case. Farouk Bajwa & Co solicitors will cease to trade on the 31st of March 2020. So this law firm, who are under investigation by the Solicitors Regulation Authority, who maybe they're jumping before they're pushed, Dr. Farouk Bajwa will have no ongoing role and indeed will cease to be a solicitor from the 31st of March. It's like, come on man. But all of his staff, so they're closing down their company, and all of his staff will go over to Burlington Legals, so basically what looks like rebadging. Rebadging, if this doesn't show the corruption and slippery snakes that they are, they're under investigation for sending people to threaten to murder my children, okay? You wouldn't have heard that from any journalist, other than probably Rutley or Russia Today. No other British journalist will tell you that extremists were sent, my children were evacuated and never been back to their home, yeah? And now the solicitors firm's closing down and the main solicitor is no longer a solicitor whilst he's under investigation, but the media will not report that. So now I'm waiting, because you can't trust a word they say, for Burlington's Legal, which we'll see if they're a real firm or if they're just another outfit rebranded and rebadged, if they're Dr. Farouk Bajwa & Co under a new name, or Mohammed Akanji's group under a new name, because I still face the same situation. It says in here that Dr. Farouk Bajwa's staff will work for Burlington's. Now my issue is that Dr. Farouk Bajwa's staff gave my children's home address to extremists to threaten to kill them. So I'm not willing to give children's details to anyone that can that will put them in danger. And simply it's already proven, there's evidence that they work with far left violent organisations who threaten to murder children. So, do you know how much bills they put in for their side of today? £33,000. They put in 33 grand costs. That's their cost, not mine. Like, as I say, Burlington will take over this case, and I'll say it again. They ain't getting no costs. They ain't getting a penny off me. I mean, it's like, I'm building up all this, it's politically motivated, it's a complete publicity stunt by Mohammed Akanji. If anyone's using a young child, it's him using Jamal's case for his own benefit. Everything I said that day, if I'm a journalist, if someone comes up to me and a story is being portrayed about a young boy called Bailey, who was driven to suicide, he tried to kill himself, yeah? The whole country jumped on this bandwagon of this poor Syrian refugee. The poor Syrian refugee and horrible English Bailey, the bully, yeah? It wasn't the truth. I went, I spoke to multiple mums, I spoke to dinner ladies, I spoke to families, all of them gave me a completely different situation to what the media was telling us. I pride myself on giving people the reality of the situation, so what I did was I made videos and I reported it. I was told to remove those. What's that? Cheers man, thanks bro. I was told to remove the videos. Basically tried to intimidate us into silence, and I think that if I rolled on this, I'll be rolling on all of them. So I have to make a stand and just, if it's the truth, it's the truth. What I reported what I was told. Oh, so tired of courts, man. judge.
As usual, a very frustrating time in court. 7 lawyers feasting off the case. Lawfare at its worst. I've never seen it so bad. After sitting through the court, Tommy huddled with his lawyers. Then we went out for lunch and we talked about it. Here's how that went. Court's over. I had lunch with Tommy. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the case. My friends, I found it very frustrating. It was a 1-hour procedural hearing on the meaning of the defamatory words. Let's talk about what happened today a little bit. I don't want you to give away any, solicitor-client privilege.
£50,000 that cost today. 25 grand my side, 33 grand their side. For what? You've sat there for what?
Yeah.
It's total fraud, man, the whole thing. But what come out today was that I was refusing to give the child witnesses names to that law firm. They're folding the law firm. So Farouk Bajwa & Co, the company that sent someone to my children's home, the company that my wife is suing, ceased to exist next week. Dr. Farouk Bajwa, the lawyer, is no longer a lawyer. He's leaving the UK. And they were under investigation by the Solicitors Regulation Authority. It just stinks of everything they're like. They're just so slippery. And I don't know, but you've seen it. The whole thing's frustrating just because it is lawfare.
Yeah. I just want to explain a little bit about that shutting down of the law firm. This law firm commissioned someone to serve the lawsuit on you, but instead of sending a normal courier or a messenger, they sent an Antifa madman.
Antifa extremist.
Who threatened your family. Here's a quick look at that video.
He loves it. He loves it. And on that note, on that happy note. Oh, by the way, Tommy, I am gonna mince your kids, mate.
So you, or maybe your wife or your family or someone, filed a complaint with the professional body overseeing lawyers.
3 other lawyers.
Really?
What I found out is that 3 other lawyers who saw that. 3 other lawyers, independent to me, nothing to do with me, saw what he'd done. And whilst my wife issued a complaint, my lawyer did, but then 3 other lawyers, I believe, issued a complaint. But this is a law firm that have already been banned from claiming legal aid because of their fraudulent claims. They've already been banned.
So on the eve of a disciplinary ruling or whatever, they just...
Well, basically, what would happen today if they didn't do that? Then we'd have showed the judge, the man you just saw, threatened to murder my children. We'd have showed Mohammed Akanji, who was in court today, sitting with him saying, go and live stream his family's address. Yeah. Knowing that I'm not in the country. We'd have showed all of that today. And they didn't want that shown today, so what they've done instead is they've closed down their company, shut down their company. The lawyer's never going to be a lawyer again. And then they're shifting all their staff to Burlington's. So it doesn't change the matter for me. Is it that law firm, if they're rebranding and rechanging their name, it's the same law firm. Yeah. It's the same risk. They're the same frauds. It's the same risk to. How can I, when we've just seen that man threaten to murder my children, yeah, how can I give a law firm that work with that man and give details to that man? How can I give them 3 children's addresses and names when the children? You've seen the video. You've seen the video of one of the witnesses who made a video to plead with a judge saying, "I want to tell the truth, but I'm scared," and she's scared for good reason.
Yeah. You mentioned this name, Mohammed Akanji, and I had not heard that name until literally today. He was sitting next to me in court, and I just said hello to him. And then I Googled him. He is the lawyer, the go-to lawyer for terrorists. For anyone who goes over to fight with ISIS, he's their lawyer.
Shamina Begum, he's one who wants to bring her back. And this has basically been a game for him to try and destroy me.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I don't quite understand why he's involved with a defamation case. It's got nothing to do with it other than it's Islamic lawfare.
And he doesn't even work for the law firm that sued me. Yeah. He's a consultant. Yeah. So him sitting there on camera, he has been chosen, I believe, and this has all been planned in order to go for him. And they've started more cases as well. This is one case. They've started more. I've got more of these cases. And all this is for, and it is quite successful on their part, because all I'm doing is preparing for court cases. I'm travelling up and down the country meeting lawyers all the time. I said, I'm in court today, I'm in court next week, I'm in court in 2 weeks. I'm continuing in court. We're going to get another court date for today. They're going to give another court date, not for the trial. We're going to have more of these dates where each time we go to court it costs you 50 grand.
That's unbelievable. There were 7 lawyers in court today. It was 45-minute 7 lawyers, and you already said what it costs in pounds. 50,000 plus pounds. That's about 75,000 Canadian dollars.
They put in, so just to see the frauds they are, he put in here for 2 hours worth of phone calls. Yeah, he charges £450 an hour. 2 hours worth of phone calls with my lawyers. My solicitor said we spoke to him for 18 minutes. I've got it logged. He's put in a £900 bill. We spoke to him for 18 minutes. He's charging £450 an hour.
Yeah. And the reason why that's important is because he's going to try and tag you with these costs.
I have to put, so at the end of it, I'll get a bill for £450,000. And then that will bankrupt me. Bill bankrupt me anyway. And they know that, so that's where they're heading with this.
Yeah. I want to ask you a question about another case. I showed this the other day, but let me show a clip of you at Center Parks, which is like a family-friendly resort, bike paths, kids, pools, fun stuff. Here's a quick clip of that video.
So why wasn't your first point of call? A young girl has told you that she's been sexually assaulted.
With all due respect, I'm not going to have this argument.
So why haven't you nicked him?
That's fine.
So why haven't you nicked him? So why haven't you nicked him?
Because we still need to speak to your daughter.
You've already spoke to my daughter. My daughter's given you, but you've already spoke to her. She told you what happened. So why haven't you nicked him? So you're allowing him to delete his phone?
I'm not allowing him to delete his phone. Just go.
Listen, I just want to reiterate to you, it is being investigated.
No, you haven't nicked him. No, you're nicking me. You're nicking me.
It is being taken seriously.
It's not taken seriously. You're nicking me. Why are you nicked him then? Why are you nicked him then? Has he still got his phone? 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 Has he still got his phone?
He's got no shoes.
I've got nothing. You've got my clothes. My kids are up there. So a man comes in, sexually starts my daughter. You come and nick me. And you haven't even nicked him. He's got his phone.
You've assaulted someone.
He's assaulted my daughter. She's 8 years old.
So your 8-year-old daughter had her bum groped by one of 3 middle-aged Muslim men.
No. So there was 3 men is what I saw with him. 2 of them were white, 1 Asian.
Got it.
1 Asian. Not sure, not actually aware. Didn't get a chance enough. But 1 Asian, and it's the Asian man that groped her bum. And so she's standing here, facing this way. He's gone past there, then grabbed her bum, and admitted it straight away. Admitted it. I grabbed her bum by accident. Yeah. The police. He's confirmed to the police. He groped her, he grabbed her flesh. He's confirmed to the police. Under their own laws, when a girl makes an accusation like that, he has to be arrested and cautioned and interviewed and phone seized to see if they've been videoing children all weekend. Right. The police officer didn't think it was relevant that he's a middle-aged man with other middle-aged men with no children. And I say in the kids' swimming pool, yeah, the whole of Center Parks is a kids' place, yeah. It's for kids, and you have your swimming pool, and then you have flutes and slides, and yeah. Oh man, I still cannot. And even now, so 9 days ago this is, and just 2 days ago, the police officer's ringing up my wife now, saying we need to speak to your daughter's friends that she was with. My daughter's friends were with her on the day. They were ready to be spoken to. All of us waited 3 hours. All of us sat together. We didn't let the kids go because we thought they're going to need to speak to the police. Yeah. They didn't talk to any of them. Or they were too busy getting interviews by 3 people. They were running around getting interviews. Who saw Tommy Robinson hitting him? Who saw Tommy Robinson hitting him?
So you now have a court date, is it on April 2nd, for assault when you were holding down this man, but he, as far as you know, has not yet been charged with groping your daughter.
He's not been charged, the rest he was spoken to. And he's basically, I've gone up to him, he's tried to leave, I'm not going to let him leave after that, I'm not going to let him leave. In that fracas, he's got a bleeding nose, yeah? Who cares, right? Who cares? My young daughter has been sexually groped by a male man. Every time I think about it, an adult has grabbed my daughter's bum. And yeah, I face 6 months in prison now. And do you know what? You'd say, wouldn't you? I would say, oh, they can't do that. They can. Look what they've done in the last case. That's what my mum just reminded me. Stephen, they can do it. They'll do it. If they can do it. And essentially, I don't know if I'll make it worse for myself. I'm not paying no fine, and I'm not apologising. I'm not doing any community service. I'm not doing anything for a paedophile groping my daughter. So we'll see what happens on the 2nd of April.
So you've got this defamation case in which a lawyer for terrorists is there and billing. There were 5 lawyers on the other side in today's court. You've got the case where the police are trying to get you banned from all football or soccer games in the UK. You've got this assault charge now from Center Parks. They really are tying you up, your time, your money, and your mental capacity.
It worked. Over the last 10 years, I don't think I've ever had more than a 4-week period where I'm not on police bail. or awaiting court. I don't think I've ever not had a case hanging over my head.
Well, so how does it end? I mean, do they keep throwing things, you know, at the wall to see what'll stick? Do they keep coming at you? What do you do? I mean, they are tactically tying you up.
And it works, because I have lots, I've had plans of what I want to do, and then it all goes on the back burner. Like now, we're in London today, I was in London yesterday. I'm in court again next week on the 24th. Again, that's £30,000 cost, and I can't spend 30, I don't have it now, with all these cases going on, and for the football case, I'm probably going to end up defending myself on the football case. But it is your time, so I have to prepare for that, and then I've got the second, and it's constantly awaiting or waiting now. Again, this will be like when I went to the Old Bailey. I knew I was going to jail with the Old Bailey. Yeah. I knew I was going back to prison, and so then because of that, then I put my life on hold, or spend time with the kids, spend time with the family. I think I'm not going to be running around. I need to dedicate some time with my family, because I'm probably going to jail. But then with this, it's like, how can it be? And do you know what I'm so lucky about? Do you know if I didn't have that recording with my daughter? Right. Let's play it out a different way. No recording with my daughter. Okay. All the BBC News run the report. All of the national news, every one of them. They completely left out the fact my daughter was sexually assaulted. Right. Completely left out. So if I didn't have that recording, who would even believe me? Yeah. No one. Yeah. Who would believe me? I have the time of that recording was before police were ever called to Centre Park. So I can prove it all. But if I didn't have that recording, the media portrayal would have been Tommy Robinson attacks a holidaymaker. The media called this man a victim. Yeah. I'd have then gone to court for attacking an Asian male. So people are questioning now, and I'm even questioning now, whereas I wasn't. Is it a setup? Was this man supposed to touch my daughter? I'm supposed to really hurt him because there was kids there, yeah? There was all kids there. So I didn't attack him. I didn't jump all over him, yeah? I did not do it. But they probably thought people would think I would. So then I'd just be in court for an attack against an Asian male at a holiday event. And that's what the media will push. And they've already pushed it. The main thing is the British public saw my video because it went viral. I think 5 million people watched it over 24 hours. And then on all of the newspaper articles and all of the media, the public were correcting them, saying, hold on a minute, and the public are seeing it themselves. Yeah. Why have you not mentioned his daughter got sexually assaulted? Yeah. Why have you not mentioned the context in which he's alleged to have assaulted man?
You know, I wouldn't have given credence to the theory that maybe it was a setup, other than the fact they haven't charged him yet.
They haven't arrested him.
They haven't arrested him. That's insane.
And we'll know. We'll know. Is he going to come to court? I'm in court in a second. Is this man who sexually assaulted my daughter? Are the British public going to be allowed to know who he is? Do we get to see who he is? Do we get to see where he works? Do we get to find out all the details about him? To see, does he work for the British state? Have I walked into one?
That's just incredible. You know what? I don't want to ask you this, but I am curious. Maybe, I mean, the idea of taking you out of the United Kingdom would be like taking Charles de Gaulle out of France. I mean, he's the most French man that ever lived. You're the most British man that's ever lived. Is there a point where you say, enough of this? I want a normal life elsewhere.
I've got a recording here with the copper, and what I asked the police officer, is this where we're at now, that you're not even going to protect my kids? That the rule of law is not going to be, I've seen what you've done to me, that's me. But now you're not implementing the law when it comes to my children. Yeah. So if my children get sexually assaulted and you won't do anything, what future does that hold for my 3 kids? What's going to happen to them growing up? So let's make it, not for myself, because I won't leave, but I do have to seriously question what the future is going to hold for my innocent children if the law won't protect them. If a man can come up and sexually assault them, my daughter sits down and tells the police, and they just let him go. It doesn't help. Yeah.
Well, it's very frustrating. Tommy, thanks for meeting with me.
Thanks for coming, Ezra. And the reason, because you know the point we're making now about the solicitor's firm going under, rechanging their name, the solicitor who's under investigation disappearing out of the country. I gave that to the BBC journalist in there. I gave them the paperwork. I said, here you go, look, this is what's come out of this court case. They've tried to do it underhand. I guarantee you none of them report that. I guarantee you, I'll give it to the Press Association, was he? Yeah. I said, here you go, mate, look, they've folded the company. Yeah. They've changed their names.
I saw you give it, I think, to Dominic Cassiani, the BBC. I know for a fact
they're not going to report it.
He wouldn't report it, and even if he did want to report it, his editors wouldn't let it run.
No. So where's the story here is that a law firm have given Antifa extremists innocent family's address. He's threatened to murder them, and then the law firm have folded their company. The solicitor is no longer going to be a solicitor as of next week, and that doesn't even make the news. What makes the news is that I said something about a Syrian refugee. I told the truth about a Syrian refugee because it bashes me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, Tommy, good luck. I'll keep doing my best to come over here. Thanks, my friend. Stay safe.
On the second.
All right. Keep your family
man.
safe too.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
All right. Stay with me for some final thoughts. Very depressing to come to the United Kingdom to talk about censorship and the continuing politicization of the police and the courts. There are reasons to have hope. Brexit actually happened. Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour Party leader, lost and lost badly. There is hope, a little bit, but mainly there's lessons and warnings for those of us back home. For Rebel News in London, England, I'm Ezra Levant.